Welcome back to Real Airgun Adventures. So I have here a Gletcher Grach CO2 powered replica BB pistol. Not my usual thing. This came to me by way of a repair. I've fixed it and I thought I'd give it a little spin. Now it's a very good replica. It's based on a Russian military sidearm design. Current issue, used by the military and the Secret Service, the FSB, so I'm told. It's a full metal construction, metal slide, metal frame, polymer grip. It's not a blowback, but it does have this lockback feature and you can release that. The field stripping lever works, you can take off the slide and get into it. The safety works as it should and it's where it should be. The magazine release is operational and it's where it should be. This is the magazine and this was actually the issue. This manages the CO2. You see a valve on the back there, and what happens is the hammer on the pistol strikes a piston which hits the hammer and releases the gas, and that's where the problem was. So that's now sorted. It runs on a 12 gram caplet CO2 and fires 0.177 BBs. Now I'm not really big on replica air guns because there's always a trade-off. If you have a good replica with blowback and all the working bits and pieces, then you lose something in power and accuracy usually. Now, being a non-blowback, I thought this could prove to be fairly accurate. You can certainly knock tin cans down with this all day, every day, which is probably why you'd buy one. And also people buy them because they like to collect realistic military firearms. It's not my thing, but it's nice to look at. It's quite weighty. It's just shy of a kilo with an empty mag. With a full mag and a full CO2, it's probably just over the kilo. It does feel substantial. It doesn't feel light or cheap, but it does rattle. Now, I think most of that is the magazine. It's not the best fit in the world. It's still there, isn't it? So is that the slide? No, it's something else. These aren't cheap, new. When I say they're not cheap, they're not as expensive as, say, some of the Numerix Legends range. This got a retail about £159. You tend to see them for about 130. I think the blowback's slightly more expensive. They look really good. There's no doubt about it. It looks and feels just like a real steel sidearm. You took this out on the street, you'd be in all kinds of trouble very quickly. So this is something for use at home, indoors or in the back garden. It's a good little plinker. I mean, I've burnt through about 5 CO2 cartridges and quite a few BBs, and it was fun. I did enjoy it. What's taken me some time is to actually get my head around these sights. If you look at the rear sight there, although it's clear and the foresights well marked, there's a big gap in there. I think you could park a bike in there if you wanted to, which means that getting accuracy and consistency takes a little bit of time and effort. I've put that in and I think I've probably got this about as good as I can get it. Now I've fired, I think I fired 11 actually, 10 yards, 8 or 9 are on the target and quite a good group. I don't know where the rest are. Got no idea where they went. But I mean, you know, that's the nature of a CO2 BB gun. Also, it's really cold. This is a cold day today. I'm sat here in a t-shirt because I'm in a warm environment, but out there where I was shooting, it's cold. I put these CO2s in my pocket for 20 minutes before I did any shooting, so they were warm. But of course, once you start popping the trigger, it cools it down very quickly. There is single action. You can pull back the hammer and fire it single action, which does make it a much easier pistol to shoot because you're doing a lot of the heavy lifting with the trigger in double action. But that's where the fun is, obviously. So if you want to strip down, actually, I'm not going to strip it down, but this lever here pushes through from the other side just like it would on the real steel version. You just pop that out, slide it back, lift it, slide it forward, off it comes. Careful not to lose the spring. I think this is a nice looking pistol. It's got shades of Beretta about it, but it's actually manufactured in Russia, I'm informed, and often the Russian military firearms emulate well-known non-Russian firearms. So this does have a bit of a Beretta look to it. I personally think it's a nice looking pistol. I don't know if I'd buy one, if I'm absolutely honest, but I'm not saying you shouldn't. If this is your thing, then that's a really good looking pistol. It's heavy, it's substantial, it's pretty well made. As I say, apparently it's made in Russia. It's imported by a company, username Gletcher. I think they're the sports marketing group based in the US. They do some tinkering, fine tuning and refinishing as well, I'm told, and then ship these out. They come in a box, and the box has an exploded diagram on the lid, which is probably going to be quite useful. Now the magazine, which does do the donkey work, now this is a heavy magazine actually, so your CO2 sits in there. To install one, you have a button you push and you slide the base of the magazine back, and there is your hex nut, which is the thing you tighten up to pierce the capsule. Capsule sits in there. Up in there obviously is the piercing probe, an O-ring, and above it is this mechanism with a valve and the BB feed on the front. So you can see this little carriage moves backwards and forwards. That's moved by the pistol action, and that's what puts the BBs in. And this at the back, this little valve, is what delivers the CO2 to fire it. And this is where the issue was on this one. Simple fix. Maybe do a video on that another time. But yeah, it's quite well made, it's quite nice. It's heavy, and these aren't cheap. I looked around and they're about 30 quid. That's about as cheap as I could find them. And there's not a lot of spares around for these. Although there's not a lot of things you need to change. Like all these metal based guns, they're quite easy to repair. It's usually an O-ring, a spring, a shim or a washer. It's never anything serious, it's just getting to it. And then once you've got to it, getting the whole thing back together again. Reminds me of a 6 hour in a box over there, which is a nightmare. The most complicated mechanism in the world. Anyway, that's the Gletch, or the Grach, should I say. I think, value for money wise, compared to some of the other very realistic pistols, it's pretty good. Power wise, it's okay. None of them are going to be fantastically powerful. I'm going to chrono this later. I suspect it'll be a couple of foot-pound, not much more than that. You know, anything that fires BBs isn't going to be wildly accurate. We all know that. There's no point in pretending that it is. And I have fired a lot of BBs to arrive at the point where I can put most of them on the target. Obviously, if the wind changes direction or you blink before you fire, it does change the result. But it does feel nice, it does look nice, it fires well. The fact it's single and double action is nice. Let's look at some target work and then we'll pick up afterwards. Be right back. Okay, quick roundup. Gletcher Grach, NBB. It's not a bad little gun. It takes some getting used to, or at least it did for me. But you can put those pellets in quite a nice group. That group you saw, there were at least two. I don't know where they went, but everything else is on the target, and it's not bad at all. It's actually, I'd say it's probably not as accurate as the Umarex Double Extreme 1.7 or the DX17. That was very accurate, and that's a 25 quid air pistol. But this is a high-end replica, full metal construction. So there's going to be a compromise. Just have to accept that. But if you click these things, if you're interested in these, this is a nice one. As I say, it feels good, it looks good. Probably a tad too realistic for my blood, but it's not a bad little thing. I say £159, I'm sure you can find them cheaper. I'm sure you find one for 120 or 130. The lockback is nice. They do a blowback version. A blowback version you will lose power and possibly some accuracy, because it's going to be going like that every time you fire it. But as I say, you'll hit tin cans all day, every day, and if that's what you want to do, why not do it with one of these? Anyway, that's the Grach. Signing off now. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. A big thank you to all you guys who have liked and subscribed. If you want me to, let me know and I'll do a strip down and show you how I fix the magazine. If you don't want me to, no need to say anything. Bye for now.